Welcome to the OMFL Jacksonville Jaguars review, where this week we will be talking about weeks 1 and 2 of the season. But first, I'm going to touch on some stuff from the off-season. I did that last episode a bit, but we were in a bit of a rush, so I didn't get a chance to really fully break down things and explain my rationalizations and my thinking and whatnot. So when I'm starting a season, generally, I look at my schedule. I'm going to pull that up here. And I look through everything. I write down all the teams I'm playing. Now, in my head, you need 10 wins to make the playoffs. If you miss the playoffs with 10 wins, that's just bad luck, but you had a great season. I start by looking at my division games, and I will break them down 3-3. I always assume I'm going to win 3, lose 3 of all my division games, split the season series. Last season I was 5-1. The one came against the Colts CPU in the last week when I benched everybody. So I don't often expect to be 5-1, 6-0. That just doesn't happen. You get too familiar with people. They start to learn your plays. You learn theirs. Then it just becomes random chance. Who gets a little bit lucky here and there, especially around the second, third, fourth seasons where you can change things, but teams are going to be fluctuating so much. It just there's no way to really know. And if I'm trying to plan ahead and trying to figure out where these 10 wins are going to come from, I just start by assuming 3 from division, 3 losses, figure everything else out. As I was breaking it down this batch of games, I wrote down my my best guess on my win-loss per game. I'm not going to break that down, but I went through every game. I picked whether, I looked at their rosters. I thought, win or lose, and at the end of it, I came out with a 6-11 record. And it got me thinking why I would do that to a team that finished 12-5 last season. Why did I think that? What was my thought processes? I just really wanted to break down where I was getting this number. Now, in full transparency, I had a starting 0-3. That clearly hasn't happened. I got a game against the Raiders sometime tonight. That should, we'll see. He's a good opponent. You got to stop his drags. If you stop his drags, you stop his offense. So it's going to be a tough call. He's got some really good players, but Bowers is out. So, anyways, 6-11? No, that's only. Is that 17? Yeah, 6-11. Sorry, How did I get there? And I started thinking about how I view getting better as a team, and how that mindset changes between having a bad team to start, a team with a limited roster, and having a good team, and how they're not the same thing, and you can't treat them as the same thing. I think as a good team, you tend to look at things like best player in versus best player out. Who was the best player that I lost versus the best player I gained. Whereas when you have a team like, I'm going to use the Rams because I started the cycle there. You look at their team and you can see tangibly where things improve. You see, we have a 89 overall quarterback. We have a running back that is, 87 overall and is pretty beastly. You get DJ Reed, you get Jordan Addison, you sign or re-sign guys like Chubb. You can tangibly see when a bad team starts to improve, just based on overall and the level of talent on the team. And that's so with a team like the Rams, you can see, wow, they've gotten better this year. I think they're 2-1 to start, if I'm not wrong there. I'm just going to jump. I just want to double check because I didn't look. Yeah, 2-1. That's after a really impressive. I'm pointing at the screen like you can see it. A really impressive win over the Cardinals. So that's a team you can say, you can visually look at and say they are getting better. Then you have a team like the Jaguars, who started off good. At least this Madden. Next Madden, I'm giving myself nightmares thinking about, but we're going to worry about that in 10 months. When a team like this and is as good as this goes into an off season, you can't. It's harder to see where they get better. You mostly just hope you don't get worse. But I've also started to realize that maybe I'm not thinking of it in the proper terms, and I've had to reassess how I view getting better. I'll give you an example. So this off season, I traded. I don't. There we go. My starting defensive tackle, Brian Larson. He was 88 overall at the time. Last year, had about 40 tackles, 17 for loss, 2.5 sacks. Beast. I replaced him. These two were already on the team. Mason Smith, I'm developing. And I'm putting some work into Jordan Jefferson too, but Mason Smith is who I was developing from the beginning. He's not as good, clearly, and he's comparably cheap this season. So you can look at this and say, I got worse, and that's fair. And that's how I saw it. This is part of the reason I wrote down 6-11, is I look at this and I say, well, I got worse. But also, I kind of got better. And I'll explain that. Simply put, I can't get rid of these two contracts. This Armstead I might be able to cut at the end of the season. This guy's locked in for 2 more, and his cap penalty is too high. And I only have 1 more cut left, and I'm probably going to use that on Trevor Lawrence. So I have 2 defensive tackles, plus Larson, plus these 2 kids. I have 5 defensive tackles and 2 spots. Even shuffling like Armstead, I do as pass rush. He's my Devon Hamilton's my base defense. You can't. There's just not enough room for all of it, and I can't slide them over. I have Travon Walker and Josh Hines-Allen, so I can't move them around. So I'm in this situation where, how do I improve a team when I'm at the end of this season going to have to pay 3 defensive tackles big money while developing 2 more? The obvious solution was to trade one. And you can see the cap penalty. I'm not going to trade the young one that's going to stay cheap for 3 more seasons, this season and 2 more. So I trade Larson, and I get worse at that position. But also long term, I think I put myself in a healthier position. And what it allowed me to do is make a trade for 2 players. Jair Smith, strong safety, is a clear upgrade over Edmonds and Ryan Neal, who I had last year. Clear upgrade, cheap for another 2 seasons, including this one. That is an obvious improvement, and it gave me the ability to move Andre Sisco down to corner, because I didn't want to mess with formation subs, because the rules, the way they work, They don't allow you to start somebody listed as a safety as a corner, and that's what I would have needed to have done, because Sisco I wanted as a boundary corner, not the nickel. So to do that, I had to move him to actually play corner, and the only way I could do that was get a safety, and I got a good young one who's going to be good for the rest of the cycle, who I can continue to improve on, and gave me the option to balance my defensive secondary, which makes the team better. The other thing I was able to get in this deal, Michael Mayer. Now you're thinking, you have Evan Ingram. Why do you need another tight end? Two reasons. One, Ingram started at 29 years old, so I knew he was going to regress, and he did. He lost a little bit of speed, a couple other things. He's still a very good tight end, but you can't build an entire offense for a cycle around a guy this dynamic, knowing that he's not going to be there in 2 seasons. You can't replace a guy like Evan Ingram. You can't replace his skill set. To do that, you would probably need, there's maybe 2 or 3 tight ends that can do it. Kyle Pitts being one of them. Kittle can't. He's also going to be regressing. You look around the league, like maybe Laporta kind of can do it. But there aren't a lot of names. I mean, obviously Bowers, you can, but you're not getting Bowers away from the Raiders. You look around, there's a lot of older tight ends, but there's nobody that's going to really take over for that skill set, for that athleticism and speed. So if you base an offense around it, all you've done is put yourself in a situation where after the second season, you have to completely change your offense because you'll never replace that skill set. Also, Ingram's already in regression. So by next season, he's going to be in 86, 85, and he wants a huge contract. In the re-signs, I think he wants somewhere close to $20 million a season for 4 seasons. So you're going to get his entire regression, and he won't even be the player he was in the first 2 seasons. So your entire offense has to change anyways. So instead, I made a trade for Michael Mayer. Michael Mayer is not as athletic. He's a little bit better in traffic. I don't believe he has the drops ball trait, which is nice, though he seems to drop passes in practice a lot, and it really annoys me. He is a good, young, 2 years left on his cheap deal player that I can build an offense around because he's not going to regress. And his skill set, while not as dynamic, is at least reliable so that when I build him into the offense, I know what he is going to be and what he's going to do. Essentially, I'm trying to build him into a kind of a Travis Kelce type, not the fastest, not the most athletic, but the guy that just gets open kind of tight end. Gets open, makes the catches, is probably not as what's the word I'm looking for? He's not going to freelance as much as like real life Kelce, but as far as the game goes, I just want to make him like basically the ultimate possession receiver and like a relief valve, and he is fully capable of doing that. His athleticism is not that great, but I don't need it to be. I just need him to make the catch when I throw him the ball, and I need him to be there for 3, 4, 5 catches a game max. And being able to do this allows me to balance my offense, allows me to add plays to my playbook that where my first read might not be the tight end, but my second read might be, and I feel more comfortable going forward with him as my second or third read than I did, Ingram. And a balanced offense makes the team better. Cam Robinson's gone. Wills is not better. He's about $3 million cheaper. But that $3 million for a guy that's right now 6 overall less, he's definitely not as good. But Cam Robinson wanted a 2-year deal. He's going to hit regression. Wills is probably not going to for at least most of the cycle. And in that time, I have time to draft people like a Juan Peterson, who's my new starting left guard, is developing really quickly. In the offseason, I'm probably going to draft another offensive lineman to replace Mitch Morse. Probably re-sign Scherf for 1 season. But being able to bring in somebody cheaper who's still pretty good has allowed me to move some money around and not worry about the future where Yes, Cam Robinson's a better player, and I do downgrade a little bit on the offensive line, but it's almost worth it just for having the cheaper, younger option. I think he's in for, I want to say 2 seasons? I'm probably wrong. Uh, 3 seasons. At 8, 8 and 9, Cam Robinson wanted 12. So that's 4 million, give or take. That's when you're a team that's kind of near the cap ceiling, that's huge. There's a reason I'm thinking of trading for Nate's quarterback who wants 30 million. Oh, and using my that's the wrong Joyce, that's the wrong button. And using my cut on Trevor Lawrence, who after this season, because I restructured his contract, will be making 40 million, $10 million. That gives me a chance to re-sign Frederickson if I don't trade him. It gives me money to re-sign. I have a couple players that need re-signing. I'm just going to show. I've tried to re-sign Walker. He didn't take the first deal. I'll probably resubmit next week. Parrish is a young, pretty decent receiver. I'm probably going to keep him. Uh, I, I'm going back and forth on Parrish because he's good, but is he going to be worth that kind of money? And he's my third receiver plus a tight end. So I don't know what I'm going to do with him, but I'm trying to get him for cheap. If I can get him, I'll keep him. I got to get ETN locked up. The money, $10 million, can go a lot of way. I only have 21 left. I can't even re-sign Frederickson right now. When I cut Trevor Lawrence, I'm going to use the extra to get ETN signed up. Probably not under contract. I'll probably use a franchise tag. But, every dollar counts, and when you can get cheaper on the offensive line and still be pretty good, you have to do it. All of this to say, I think I've spent 20 minutes talking about this and breaking it down, but yeah, give or take. All of this to say that getting better doesn't necessarily mean just getting the best player in versus who you lose. Sometimes it can be getting younger. Sometimes it can be developing your players. It can be getting cheaper at positions where you're already spending a lot of money, like defensive tackle. It could mean giving yourself the kind of depth you need to move somebody else to a different spot, like Cisco. It could mean bringing somebody in that better fits what you need offensively so that you can balance yourself, like Mayer. So while I didn't improve just based on overall number, it's hard as I'm and it's hard to like see anything else with the overall number. And when you're self-critiquing your team, it's easy to just go to, well, I lost these players, therefore I am worse. But when you really break it down, there's so much more to getting better as a team than just the overall number. There's a lot that goes into it. I haven't redone my count because I'm using 6 and 11 as a jumping off point and as kind of motivation to like, this is what I thought. But I can't say that my team didn't get better. I can't say that we didn't improve in areas that we needed to improve on. And I think it just I have to reevaluate what that term means and how I get to those conclusions. This is all I'm just trying to kind of give you guys, if I'm going to do a show like this, I want to give you guys kind of a window into my mind and how I view things and how I do things. And this is how I do things. It's just a lot of overthinking, a lot of rambling, and just looking for ways to improve a good team in the aggregate. To steal a word for Moneyball, trying to make them better by being deeper, not necessarily by getting the best version of every position, the best player from every position. So that's where we are. We got a game tonight. By week 5, we'll probably know where we stand. We got KC and LA, two teams that are improving. KC's 1-1 right now. LA, as I said, 2-1. These are, I don't know why I'm looking there. There we go. These are some good teams that are getting better. They have a lot of talent. The Rams, obviously less than the Chiefs, but they're working on it. You can see their development, and it's going to be a difficult couple of games. But I'm hoping to leave. I expected to leave 2-3. I would be happy to leave 3-2, and that would make me more likely to maybe try to make a deal or two. I got two left because of the gold incentive, only the off-season one. So we're looking to continue improving. Hopefully, if I end up with a 500 record or a 2-3, 3-2 record, I'm not 100% sure what I'll do, but we'll see what's available, who can move what. I'm still trying to move Fredrickson, so we'll find out. We'll find out in probably 2 or 3 weeks where everybody is. We'll see who's willing to make some moves, and who knows? Maybe there'll be a big splash or two in the future. I don't have a lot of cap space, but there are some spots where you can trim a little bit of fat, and I could cut Darby and still be under the cap. I think I'm at 19 something right now. Yeah, there's still room to make some moves. To maybe make another run this year, or set myself 21-6, so that'll be about 23 plus 200K for Fredrickson. So yeah, it won't be easy, but we'll see what the rest of the season entails, and hopefully we'll be able to make some adjustments and see where it leads us. Anyways, we're gonna get into that's been about 20 minutes, so I'm gonna get right into weeks 1 and 2. Week 1, another really tough game against the Bills. It was a game I could have won, probably shouldn't have won, but it's the kind of game where you can get over it when you're done. The 3 interceptions is a bit of a misnomer. 2 of them were late in the game, trying to make something happen on like 4th down or with like time running out, and you're just trying to make a play. Generally, Lawrence played fine. Not great, but fine. I managed to keep Allen to just 137 yards. I kept his passing attack down. His rushing attack was fine, but not spectacular. My defense really came to play, but I just couldn't myself get anything going. ETN was fine, had one good run, but overall, we just couldn't get over the hump. Made some decisions near the end. Probably should have kicked a field goal, which would have given me a chance to tie the game late. I should have kicked a field goal on my second to last drive. Instead, I went for it on 4th down and got intercepted. I could have kicked a field goal, brought it to within 3. Trusted my defense, but when you're playing a guy like Maniac, sometimes you feel like, wait, was I playing? Yeah. So I'm sorry. I was. Sometimes when you're playing a guy like Maniac, you feel like you need to push a little more than maybe you do. And it got me for that. He had a really good game. And there's not much I can say about it. He just beat me. But it was a game. It was a competitive game. It was a game I was in right into the end. Most of my losses in this and last season have been within 1 possession, and that's all you can ask for. Just a competitive game that was kind of fun to play, that, you have a chance to win at the end. I didn't blow it for myself, not really. So, it was a solid game. It wasn't an instant classic by any means. It was kind of sloppy, really, but it was the first game of a season. You can't really expect a whole lot. Second game against the Falcons was a just a defensive masterclass by my secondary. They played so good. 4 interceptions on Penix, who's still developing. I think he's 77, 78 overall. Big Hurt's going to have to really work on getting him upgraded, and hopefully he develops well for him. Trevor Lawrence played pretty good. One of these touchdowns, the long one, 67, was on a touch pass. So there's a little bit of a misnomer on that. It's not as good as it looks, but it was still pretty good. Again, my rushing attack couldn't get anywhere. To be fair, neither could his. So, that was beneficial for our win. We didn't really get much from any of these guys. ETN's had kind of a slow start to the season after finishing second in rushing last year. It's there's not as much running room right now, and you would think that's partially on the offensive line, but mostly it's just because teams are scheming to stop him to try to make me pass. So I'm having to redo my playbook a little bit and rethink how I'm using my passing attack to hopefully give my running backs a little extra room. Brian Thomas went off in this one, 8 catches, 145. He had the 67-yard play, but even if you retract that, it's like 7 for 80, which is a really good game. Fredrickson, 2 for 65. Again, 57. Sorry, his long was 57. That was the that was the touch pass touchdown. So, not a lot of work for him. A bit for Mayer, but a lot of the passes that went to Thomas Jr. were meant for Fredrickson. It's just Fredrickson didn't get open fast enough, so I made a different read. I'm probably going to try to trade Fredrickson. He's so good, but he's getting 3-4 targets a game, and it's just not worth the amount of money he wants. Especially because I'm not trying to pass the ball that much. What did I throw? 16 this game. I threw 21 last game, and only because I was losing. So I think I got to trade him. Defensively, we were fantastic. Lloyd looking for another 4 Pro Bowl points. No, I think he had 2 this year. So he's looking for 4 Pro Bowl points next year. He's trying to get up there and get the starting spot. Walker, fantastic game, a sack, 3 tackles for loss, completely dominated the line of scrimmage. Lattimore got his first 2 interceptions since, I think, week 9 last year. Campbell grabbed one. My new user, who I just locked up to a 2-year deal, he had an interception. I wasn't even using him at the time. I happened to be, I believe, stuck on a defensive lineman, but he jumped a pass and intercepted it. He's going to be my user of the future, probably eventually going to end up in my nickel linebacker spot once Aluakun is gone. He's about to regress pretty hard, and I think I have 1 more year after this one on his deal. So he's 3 more. Jesus. But he's good now, and he'll still be solid for another year or 2, so that's fine. But as I was saying, Hackett's going to probably be my user. It's a good skill set here. Not a lot of blazing speed or anything, but it's not bad. For a user, 84 speed's maybe a little slow, but the faster you get, the more you tend to drift, I find. Or the more I tend to drift, I should say. Thinking that my speed can catch up to everything. I play a little more controlled with slower linebackers. And I say slower, but he's basically the exact same as wrong side. The exact same as Devin Lloyd, who I used as my basic user all last season, getting him to a Pro Bowl, 111 tackles, 13 for loss, a sack, 9 interceptions. Most of those were from me. So, the speed's comparable, so hopefully I'll be able to use him well. We're only paying... I changed teams by accident. I'm only paying him couple $1 million. I think it's like 3-ish a season after this one. Yeah, it's like 175 this year, 3 and 3.8. I think that's not bad. I'm more than happy to pay that for a guy that's going to be here for a little while, that I'm going to use most downs, especially to start in base formations. Obviously, we're going to try to figure out what his... Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, do I have any... I don't. Okay, I was thinking about using the coach points. Well, I don't want to show what I'm using, but to try to get that one that unlocks a development trait early, just to see what he is. But anyways, I'll find out by the end of the year. So I think he's just a star, probably star development. But if he's higher than that, that'd be really great. Anyways, I got some time. I was supposed to have already started the game against the Raiders, but he's got a family thing going on, so I told him he can just get back to me and we'll try to figure it out later. Anyways, that is all for this episode. Sorry I got a little rambly at the beginning and then kind of wore myself out and lost all my energy near the end. I think shorter's better. I'm going to try to make these short from now on. This episode's got to be in the 30 minutes. It's been 30 minutes, so I'm going to cut this off now. We're going to try to do shorter episodes from here forward. Maybe some less existential thinking and existential crises for future weeks. So the next episode will be after week 4 against, I want to say, Kansas City. Why do I keep going to the wrong thing? Yeah, week 4 in Kansas City. So that should be sometime mid next week. I'll probably film it. So that should be up probably... I'm going to play this game today. Just soon. So let's say Wednesday or Thursday next week. But don't hold me to that because I'm also working those nights. So we'll do the best we can. I just need to get to next week so I can try to re-sign some of those players. Continue doing the scouting. I'm, trying to figure out the future of this team. Anyways, we're going to get out of here. Just view player of the week for Lattimore's 2 interceptions. Got it. Anyways, for the OMFL Jacksonville Jaguars review, I am Mike Fleury, and as always, I will try to do better next time.